Thank you for enjoying your sweetest moments, merging timelines. I'm your host, Melly Mells, an angelic melody Melanie, the airy fairy mystic. Today's message I bring to you with such excitement because I feel grateful to be delivering it. I feel grateful to be occupying its time and space, and I feel grateful to be ushering in its new time. A time in which we know age won't exist. We know all of the forms of separation, should I say, because time won't be. A lot of messages are coming in, even as I'm giving this. And they're side messages. They're not messages that even have anything to do with what I'm talking about. So let's focus on the bigger picture. We have this. This is a full breakdown of what I want to speak with you about. It's a page of symbolism, paired with some linguistics that will help me to bring clarity along your journey. I thank you for being here. The first message is the song, 4-page letter. It's a symbol of our processing, understanding that we are the gatekeepers. We did go over the 3 God, and I did want to break down the 6 God, with no pun intended, as I know I have many fans of the 6 God, of the character, should I say. But I only wish to expose what's behind the character. The reason being is that my name means Melanie, it means darkness. So it's the root word melanin. It is the root word melanin. As I was drawing the 3 God image, a few weeks later, I got the 6 God image. This was shown to me in a symbol that looks like an hourglass. And of course, the hourglass is a symbol of time. With this, we know that we've now multiplied 2 different forms of existence into an as above, so below. So we went over the below. The below is what you see here in this realm with your visible eye. It is your known that is given to you, information that is given to you. It is the unknown that you are looking for, and it is the consumption of the 2 angles within its questioning. But we do know now that we are in a society in which was created by man. And that's why we are now unfolding its constructs with using our own head spaces. So they say, think while it's still legal. The as above aspect, which is the spiritual realm, it starts with the unknown, and then the known, and then becomes the giver of what it's consumed. And that's why we have so many people working with such confidence. They've discovered themselves. They share its known with no personal gain in mind. And they give it to the consumer without looking like that person is beneath them or those persons, but acknowledging the lower half of their persona. And that's why it's given that way. You know, that's why the message was to be compassionate with the delivery, because when you speak from your lower, you're speaking to your lower end. And that's why we can say, be the higher self, that sees the lower self, and grab that little player and facilitate it with compassion. Look as if you were speaking to yourself, and how would you want to be spoken to? Let's get into another angles. I wanted to break down this one for many times. That was the sixth god. The sixth god explains the twin flame, the attack on the twin flame. Why? Because it says there's two persons that are created. It's divided within its split, right? And that's why I was telling you there's an attack on the twin flame community. A lot of people used to resonate with its inner stance, and now they're projecting the very sense of Age of Darkness, which is that there is something coming. There's a sense of following that is validating them. There is all of the regurgitated aspects of this Messiah. One of those ways I see is on our platforms, when we ask others to follow, like, share, comment, and subscribe. I've done it myself. But I do recognize now that it is a regurgitated aspect of the engineering of its construct. And that's why we keep getting these kings on a land that has no kings. And so we have information that's pooling like a dam in certain areas, and it's holding up the flood. Let's go over the two different symbols, the tree of life and the cross. Notice the colors that I've chosen: red and black, green and brown. Now we know that in the cross, if we choose to continue to go straight, we're aligning with the symbolism that I so gently express is an image of a man who dies with his word. And so therefore, instead of ever reflecting what he's reflected to become the reflection, he continues to move forward instead of in a spiral. This spiral, the tree of life, is exactly what this cross is cut down from. So, in the tree of life, a person goes back to recorrect its mistake, which is just mistake. It's been a capture, a world capture, a world view of how one has expressed itself into its becoming. Those are the two different angles I want you to see, and neither is right or wrong, but merging its timeline to become whole. Okay? So I don't say this to say one thing about one end and say that another is right and vice versa, because we don't live in a righteous world. We live in one that is processing and developing its full image here and now. You're covered by grace, and the work is done in both realms. So the messages are received by those who are currently moving and exercising its data in all forms of possibilities, which we know are the multiple realities that we have the ability to exist in, because we can perform any skill with its repetition. Another divide I want to bring back to wholeness is the head and the heart. I want to break down the head being the Aries, the heart being the Aquarius, the age of Aquarius. So right start of it was the head in Aries, the first sign. Then you have the wave, the water bear, the Aquarius. Just under that, you can see the land and the being coming together in wholeness. Now, I've seen a lot of us, myself included, look at this land as if it is something that we're to own. It's a very hard message to receive, even for myself, that we're not here to own anything, but we are here to enjoy it. So anything that you do with enjoyment, you'll be provided for, especially if it works in tandem with the land, meaning that it creates more forms of its existence instead of cutting it down. Again, going back to a man who dies with his word. Take this next message as you will. I'm not confirming or denying anything, but moving with nature. Here is the chromosomes of our land, an XX and an XY. I did speak of two women working together, and I have the pleasure of living with two women at this time that I would not believe in my past tense, in my structured reality, would even have the ability to perform the way it does in plain sight. But I have the gift of bearing its witness. Someone wants to give you everything for nothing. For nothing. I wanted to break down the sun and the moon. As you know, since I started this channel in 2018, I only felt called to read for those aspects, as I understood that one sun meant your head and the moon meant your heart. And I want to expose why the phases are so important. The phases are so important, family, because while the sun remains whole, the moon shifts into different angles. That is nothing more than showing you the angles that you're given in creating your own truth. Sometimes it comes at a low, it comes at a peak, and sometimes it goes right back down. And that's why they say the moon works with water. It works with our internal seas. The X Factor is a song that I also got by Lauryn Hill. I love that song. Check the Carfax, family. And the Carfax is your mobile, the one that allows you to move without resistance. And that's how you know what is right within your becoming. Even when your eyes can't provide its proof. Because a lot of people will challenge the things that you do because it works against the way we've been. I'm going to share with you the next page after going through those symbols. It's just jotted down notes that as I was going into this video on my lunch break with intent, I was also given these messages to throw at you just for your own reflection. Real change emits through frequency. This is why tone provokes emotion. So if I yell at you, or if I'm calm, It is what creates more of the movement on the land. Mars is calling, but I'll call him back in just a moment. Hopefully he'll watch this video and believe it to be true. You have to reaffirm your being, even in its mirrored reflection. Sometimes it's a push and pull, family. And that's the nature of the beast. Trust that when you... Hold on, let me go back to that. But you are not behind the wave, family. You are in front of it, pushing against a manipulated approach. By creating its clarity within exposing its intention. That is your mission. Trust that when you empty your soul and all of its retrieved data within vibrating, you will inherit the land in a new form of existing, one you may not even believe to be true as you receive its message, but it is true. When you speak with controlled tone, it will provoke the aspects of another drawn to its light for its opposing ability to stillness. Hold faith. The Most High's work with word and action multiplies realms of existence, and it's the depiction of the band in which information is help. Word is bond. Withholding information through the needs of acknowledgement holds a dam that prolongs the flood. And we already spoke of that, so give to receive. He's calling again. Do I dare to make him trust the process? I do. I don't care how we began to speak with one tone, but I will say people don't want to receive the truth. They want to be it. And with that I say, what a time to be alive. The truth, we don't want to keep regurgitating a dark age in all its forms of possibilities outside of us. We are the gods and goddesses of its land. And we want to allow it to work through us. The cat's out the bag. Transparency. You are not spiritual if you exercise a rite of passage with any form of false light. So do not use your identity when it comes to exposing the bonds of the age. Its message received shows its wholeness in developing the full image, not a one-man world. I close this with finally. Surprisingly, I've never been blocked or demonetized because a governed mind will provide its very functions, not with identity. So free your being. That's all that's required. That's the message. I felt like I went fast because although I said I was going to test the process, I was still a little nervous about doing so. If you're currently waiting for one of the readings that you've purchased, I greatly appreciate you more than you could ever know because you believed in me enough to invest. And you also believed in me enough to allow me to take my time, because what I did realize is that I don't want the gain to be personal, but I wanted it to be for the world change. And so I'll put out the messages I have for everyone before I'll put out the messages I have for an individual. And those messages do come from the things I go through myself. As you see, I'm moving again. But like I said, we don't own anything. We just enjoy its process. And you've become the angel of order, minding the principles on the land. My outer life reflects my inner order. Awareness of order is active on every level of creation. No being or thing would exist if process of order and ritual was forgotten. The sun, the moon, the stars, and all of nature respond with order and beauty to the Creator. When there is order, the higher energies flow without hindrance. We feel a great freedom, and we don't need to worry about what to do next. Thank you again for sharing its time and space. With great pleasure do I jump on here with you. Please check out the post. It may be hard to understand, but it was easiest for me to do it that way. Until next time.